Hello guys, welcome to another video. Finally, we reached 2 pawns. Today, I'm gonna teach you how pawns move on the chessboard. So be ready and let's go. The pawn is the least valuable of chess pieces. It moves only straight ahead and one square at a time, except in first move. So if you compare it with the other pieces, a pawn walks step by step. A pawn can never move backwards. So here, in next move, this pawn can go to square e5. As I told you, except first move. So what we'll have in first move? The pawn in first move has the option to move just one square or two squares. So in next move, this pawn can go to e3 or it can go to e4. But this pawn, it is not its first move. So this pawn can just only go to g4. For example, in this diagram, this pawn can go to e4 and then black can come to c5 and then this pawn can go to g4. So how pawn take the other pieces? As you know, pawn move forward, but it cannot take the pieces forward. It will take the pieces diagonally forward, as you can see in this diagram. In next move, this pawn can take this knight or it can take this rook. So in next move, this pawn can take this knight or it can take this rook. But we have the option to move forward. Usually each pawn controls two squares, except when it is in the edge of board. In that case, it will control just one square. So in next move, if this pawn moves to a4, then it will control this square. As you know, pawn moves forward. So in this diagram, these two pawns cannot move anymore. So they block each other. Sometimes more pawns blocking each other. As you can see here, 5 white pawn and 5 black pawns blocking each other. So such combination in chess we call it pawn chain. So if we want to block each pawn, easily we can put one piece in front of that. So here black bishop block this pawn and white knight block this pawn. So none of these two pawns can go anymore. When a white pawn reaches to 7 rank and black pawn reach to 2nd rank, magic will happen. And in next move, this pawn can promote it to any other pieces except king. So in next move, this pawn can change to queen, rook, bishop or knight. So as you can see, in next move, when we reach to the 8th rank, it can promote it to queen, rook, bishop or knight. For example, we will select queen. And black, when it reaches to 1st rank, it can be changed to any of these pieces, queen, rook, bishop and knight. For example, we will select rook. Just you have to keep it in mind, we can have more than one queen or more than 2 rooks, 2 bishops and 2 knights at a time. When the pawn reaches to the last rank, immediately it should change to any pieces. So it cannot be pawn anymore. When a pawn reaches to the rank number 5, an opponent pawn wants to move to a square in the next file. For example, here our pawn, which is b5, reached to the rank number 5 and black C pawn wants to move 2 squares. In that case, our pawn can take it in such a way. In chess, we call it en passant, or in English, we can call it in passing. So this is the only move in the chess that we are capture a piece, but we are not sitting in the same square. As you can see, once again, it will take it, but it is not sitting in the same square. But the only condition is this pawn should moving its first move and to a square, and we have to take it immediately after that. So if we do another move, in next move we cannot take this pawn such a way. Here, for example, if we move to b3 and black move to h4, and next if we go to b4, so in this case this pawn cannot capture this pawn with en passant rule, because our pawn not move to a square at a time. Once again, in first move we move just one square, and next move another square, so we cannot take this pawn with en passant. Here we want to check which pawn can move or take the other pieces. g2 pawn cannot move anymore. As you can see here, it is blocked by g3 black pawn, so we cannot move this pawn anymore. Of course it will control this square and this square, but as you can see, these two squares are empty square, so this pawn cannot move anymore and it cannot take any pieces, as these two squares are empty squares. But let's take a look to d5 pawn. This pawn in next move can go forward and can take this knight, but as you know, this pawn cannot move backward, so this pawn cannot take this rook. Here we want to attack to both black pieces in the same time, so next move we can go to b4, and in the same time we are attacking to both black pieces. Here we want to find the quickest way to take both black pieces. Suppose white can move only, so in next move we can go to g4, and then g5, and then g6, and then g7, and here we have to promote our piece. So in next move we will select queen, next move we can take the bishop, and finally we can take the pawn. Here we want to find the quickest way to capture both black pawns. So in next move we can go to e4, and then e5, and then e6, and then e7, and finally we have to promote this pawn. We can promote it to knight, so in that case we can take c7 and finally b5. So this is all about pawn. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. See you in next video.